Season 3, Episode 6 starts now. Welcome to the MCU show. I'm your host, Brandon Davis, joined today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. We're very happy to be here after some slight technical difficulties. As I tweeted, I think it's Kang's fault, so.
It's always Kang's fault. When is it not Kang's fault? Messing with the timelines. We got Jamie Dirac.
Hello, greetings from my closet. Trying to avoid the construction noise this week, so enjoy the view.
Wow. It's tremendous. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be judging your wardrobe the whole time. We got Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, everybody? Is something special happening today? What's happening? Was there an ant? Are we talking about ants? Like, what's going on?
Just a little ant-sized treat. Just a little ant-sized treat for everybody. We're going to be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Aaron and I have seen it. Jamie is seeing it soon. Jenna, I believe, is seeing it soon, but unfortunately have not seen it yet. So you guys can ask us questions about this. So here's the breakdown of today's show. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania reactions. We're going to talk about what we're saying, what Twitter's saying. We have some exclusive MCU updates about Fantastic Four, Wonder Man, Werewolf by Night, some stuff like that. Then we got some more MCU news at the end of the show. But first, we have a special guest. This is the crossover you all always knew you wanted. Please, big round of applause no matter where you are, unless you're in the car driving and listening to us. We appreciate the effort. Don't clap. Keep your hands on the wheel. Welcome from New Rockstars, the legend himself, on Phase Zero, Erik Voss.
Hello, everyone. Kang has burned me out of time. And I'm here with you all now. And I'm so happy to be here on Phase Zero, comic.com. You guys are the best in the business when it comes to Marvel news and all movie news. I love following you guys.
Oh, thank you. Stop it. Continue. Everybody, I think everybody in our audience knows Erik Voss just as much as if we had Kevin Feige on the show. It's like everybody knows you because of your work, because of how great your videos are over there at New Rockstars. When we work on stuff here at Phase Zero, we're like, hold on. Can we do this as well as New Rockstars is? Is it worth even trying? Hold on a second. Thank you for coming, dude. I actually want to hear about what it's like working at New Rockstars, because you guys, the stuff you guys do is incredible. Because you guys, Erik, your mind comes up with some of the deepest cut connections between things that I watch your videos and I'm just like, why do I even bother? This dude's incredible. So when a trailer drops, when a movie drops, what's the first step? How do you get ready to release, a breakdown type video on New Rockstars? And when do you feel like, okay, this is good enough? We've got enough here.
Well, we are in 2023. New Rockstars is trying to just say yes to more opportunities. In addition to Marvel and Star Wars, we want to expand to covering things like animation and horror and just a bunch of new genres and formats. But really what we do, the process begins long before the trailer drops. And I know you do this too. You're trying to figure out when that trailer is going to drop so that we don't have to interrupt a middle of a football game and leave a cool party with cool friends that we could make to go work. I feel like I'm going to be doing that on Sunday. But so we try to learn everything we can about a movie and try to already put those connections together based off of who we think might show up. But the way I look at it is if there are 3 new pieces of information that I did not know before in a news story or in a trailer, I think that's worth a video exploration on it. Because I think from that, those are my 3 act tent poles that I can kind of I can at least hang a video on that. It's sometimes it feels like I'm reaching, but I think it's worth it to explore something from a video perspective. If there's I think that's enough new information. But I'm just so happy to work here. We have a great team at New Rockstars, and it's a very exciting time here.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys, I've noticed you guys are doing Last of Us stuff now too. I mean, you talk about branching out, and Last of Us is huge too, so it's cool to see that. But I think a lot of the fandom enjoys what you guys do, because I think part of what we do is fueled by the fandom. Yes, we love watching these movies, we love watching these shows, but we love the discourse. We love going online and hearing other people talk about it, steering our minds in new directions, and talking with people in the comment section. I think you guys are are the top of the game at it. How long have you been at New Rockstars now?
I started just kind of writing video scripts in 2015. I started full-time at the end of 2016. So I guess about 6.5 years or so.
And it's brought you out, you've gotten to go to Celebration, right? And D23. What kind of events are these studios bringing you guys out to now?
Only just now. I went to my first Star Wars celebration last year, my first D23 last year, and it blew my mind. I realized this is a whole other section of the fandom that I had been missing. I think in the earlier years, we just, maybe we weren't really known enough, or we just weren't talking to the right peoples. But so we didn't go to any kind of premieres or anything. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, everything shut down. So we weren't leaving our homes at that point. But I think that's when things started to really get exciting. Of course, a little thing called WandaVision happened. A very big thing called Mephisto happened to me. And that's kind of what we're known for now. Although I think all of us were talking about Mephisto. I cannot claim credit or ownership for Mephisto theories, but that's just everyone says his name in the same sentence with my name, it feels like.
Erik, our audience is going to love this because I will bring up D23 any chance I get. But I was trying to place, I'm like, Erik, why do I know Erik? And it's because you were standing in front of me in a press line in D23, and a guy came up to you and was like, I love your videos. Can I take a picture? And I was like, who's this guy? He seems cool. And it just all clicked. And so now I get to bring up that I saw you at D23 from kind of a weird, creepy distance because I don't know if you guys know, but I was there.
Wait, hey, comment section. Did you guys know Jamie went to D23? Did everybody know that? Jamie, have you mentioned that before? Why don't you tell people that?
Brand new information.
Brand new information. First time hearing it. Breaking news. Erik, how often does that kind of stuff happen to you? Because I recognize that the numbers you guys put up on New Rockstars on the YouTube channel are insane. You guys kill it. How often do people come up and recognize you from the work? And what are they when they do catch you out on the streets? Are they yelling Mephisto at you?
They never yell it. They kind of creepily come up behind me and whisper it in my ear, which is scary. I when I saw Shang-Chi last year, as we were leaving the AMC in Burbank, some guy came up behind me. You're crowding to get out of the theater. He's like, I didn't see Mephisto in there, did you? And I was like, Mephisto, is that you? No, it doesn't happen all the time. I think generally if I'm going to a movie, that's where movie fans are. So I'm more likely to run into followers there. I think when I went to Disneyland, when I was at D23 specifically taking pictures of the cool Moon Knight costumes, I look over and I'm like, oh, of course there'd be Marvel fans here. Hey, everybody. But yeah, generally when I walk around, because I live in San Francisco and, you just have a lot of cool tech people who don't consume media, and then I'll walk past them and they're just like, who is this guy? Get out of our city. So I don't think I ever get recognized there.
That's funny, man. Well, all right. So we're gonna start talking about Marvel now. Before we get into the Quantumania reactions, I want to put you on the spot here of everything that's announced so far. We just did our Phase 5 hype rankings. Those are anxiety-inducing episodes for the four of us because we have to start at the bottom and work our way up. I just want to hear your top three, and I'm not even going to make you put them in order because I know how these comment sections can be. But what are three of the Marvel projects that are announced that you are most excited for? If you could watch them right now, you dive in and press play.
Wow, announced. Okay, so I think at the top of the list is Loki season 2, but that's always been the case. Loki's been my favorite project.
This is why Erik's on the show. Taste.
It's an easy show to love, but I think specifically it just did so many things right, and it just blew my mind with how much they were able to establish. So Loki season 2, I think, is at the top of it for me. I think Daredevil Born Again, number 2, I would say. I'm super pumped for that. And then, probably Secret Wars, right? We just know so little about that, but it's got to be great.
Yeah, we all really hope so. We all hope Secret Wars delivers. So, man, that's a fair list. That's a pretty fair list. Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody on this show is putting enough respect on Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all I'm going to say. But all right. So, all right, guys, this is part of the show. We're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, spoiler-free reactions. I promise you, no spoilers are coming your way. If you ask us questions about spoilers in the comment section, we are not going to answer them. But we're going to give our spoiler-free takes. I have seen Quantumania. Aaron has seen Quantumania. And our special guest, Erik Voss, has seen Quantumania. You've heard from me on a video on this channel already, so I'm not going to start this one off. Aaron has tweeted about it. Erik, you'll go second. We won't put you on the spot with all the pressure with the Quantumania reaction first. Aaron, you're at the top of the screen. What did you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
K. That's basically what my reaction was, is that I've never been more excited. I didn't think I could be more excited about Jonathan Majors being the linchpin for all of this stuff. But he really is horrifying, kind of terrifying. Like, it was funny. It felt like, in some ways, I guess, that poor Paul Rudd like found himself like it was almost like he was like a cartoon character, and it's like, whoa, wait a second. When he's like, "You're out of your league, Ant-Man," I was like, ah, man, some of us ain't gonna make it. Like Simu Liu's tweet about, "Yo, the Avengers are screwed." Like I've never felt like, yes, he was completely right. He's completely right. I really loved most of the performances from the main cast. I don't know where I would rank the first two Ant-Man movies in my like MCU like total phase rankings that are eventually going to come and then send me and Jamie Dirac into absolute panic attack whenever we have to do them on the show. You can see her reaction down there in the corner. Like it's not going to be fun. But I thought it was interesting. I like the swings. I think much like Brandon, that we have, like, for those of you who have incessantly, God bless you, thank you for watching and tweeting and following on the show, who have been saying this needs a direction. You have a direction. You have a direction. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
You all did it. We all did it. Let's get cake. So I'm excited to see what other people think about it. I like Paul Rudd, my fiance, was like, yeah, like it's fun. It was interesting. And we have a start, but Majors is the biggest thing here, I think. Like, he's the biggest thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, he's tremendous. How could I have forgotten,
Yeah. I'll say this real quick. Now, this is just I'm making this number up completely. If this movie was a 7 out of 10, I'm completely making that up. But that's not my ranking. But if this movie's a 7 out of 10, if you take Jonathan Majors as Kang out of it, it's a 4 out of 10.
Wow.
That's all he gives. He adds that much to the movie. He elevates this film. That's just, those numbers are made up, I promise. But that's all. That's Jonathan Majors brings that much to the project. Eric, what do you think of Quantumania? Oh, what's that, Jamie?
I have a quick question. My biggest complaint about Ant-Man and the Wasp was that I didn't get my fill of Michelle Pfeiffer. Am I going to be happy?
Woo! Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
All right.
Yeah. Michelle
Okay.
Pfeiffer. I was going to touch on that because Janet is integral to this story, and Michelle Pfeiffer's awesome. I still would have liked more of her, but she does. She is a very key player in this movie, and she's awesome. She's awesome. Eric, what do you think of Quantumania?
Oh, go ahead.
Look, Quantumania definitely delivers as the launch to Marvel Phase 5, and I 100% agree that Jonathan Majors delivers as Kang. He is a delight to watch. He reminds me of just anytime Heath Ledger enters the frame in Dark Knight, it completely changes the dynamic of the movie, and you can't help but just stare at that beautiful face and all the amazing acting choices he is making. You don't commonly see this in Marvel, even from great actors. You can see them sometimes pulling their punches, not really sure what the tone of the scene is that they're doing, or the volume VFX around them, but he plays it so intimately. And he's so pissed off in this movie. I've never seen this kind of rage, but not just one note rage. There's like a full spectrum and a dynamic of rage, and he finds so many ways into every scene. I think, Brandon, I agree with you. I think Majors does a lot of heavy lifting in this movie, and without him, I think it'll be fun to see the box office of this movie, because I will look at it like, I bet at the end of the day, Jonathan Majors is like the difference of $100 million of profit. I think that's going to be how important he is to the success of this movie, because I think people are going to come to it so excited to see where Marvel is going. And by the end of the movie, by the end of the post-credit scenes, you'll definitely feel fulfilled in that regard. There are a lot of other weird moments throughout the movie. I think it is going for like a Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland type vibe. I have this like take that every American movie is either trying to be the Wizard of Oz or Citizen Kane, either try to be a dream or a puzzle. And I think this one is trying definitely to be a dream, but sometimes the surreality of that dream lost me a little bit. I was like, I don't know what I am looking at. I don't know if these characters know or have an emotional connection to where they are. But by the end of it, I definitely really enjoyed the tone of where things are going forward.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about the film. Well, those are my two favorite things. The first is Kang. The second is that we now have a trajectory from the MCU, when before this movie, it just felt like, well, there's a whole lot of MCU and it's going everywhere. Now it's like, okay, it's going here. And this is the first step, and it's a big step, which is nice. That said, I didn't really find myself emotionally connecting to a lot of Quantumania. There was one part where it got me. I think those two of you who saw it might know what I'm talking about. There's one part where I was like, oh, this is nice. Okay, I feel something now. Wow, finally. But for the most part, like, I appreciated the big swings. I appreciated the weirdness for what it was. I recognize that that's not the type of tone for a film that is like made for me, for my peak enjoyment. It really is very much like Thor Ragnarok meets Rick and Morty and just goes on like a crazy trip together. And some people, that description, they will eat it up. And there's parts of Thor Ragnarok and Rick and Morty which I think are really fun. There's parts of those movies or those titles that I think are a little excessive for my taste. I like things a little bit more grounded, I think. And this one is certainly not a grounded film. It is insane. It is crazy. There's a lot I really enjoy. It's weird. It is the weirdest thing Marvel has ever done, and it's not close. It's just not close. And some people are going to absolutely love that, I think. And I ended up thinking it's just kind of middle of the road for me. Yeah, Jamie's like, oh, I'm listening. I'm listening.
So far, it sounds like I'm going to love it.
Yeah, me too.
I hope so. I really do think people are going to love it. I think some people are. I think for me, this just ended up being kind of middle of the road. And I'd put Panther 2, in terms of movies post-Endgame, Panther 2, Shang-Chi, No Way Home are all definitely above it for me. I think everything else, all the other movies, maybe Black Widow, but the rest I think are pretty below it for me. It's kind of in the middle. Like, there's things I liked. It was uneven in quality for me. There's things I really liked. There's things I didn't. That said, all the things in this, I do kind of want to see again. I don't feel like I need to watch this movie over and over again, but there are parts of the film and characters and environments that I would like to see again. There's so much CGI, and when you're hot on the heels of Avatar: The Way of Water, it's hard to be like, this looks amazing. But it really, compared to recent MCU projects, it was mostly pretty good, I think, with a couple exceptions. There were some things that when you see them, you're going to be like, what's happening here? Yeah, it's kind of middle of the road for me. I certainly did not hate it. I definitely didn't love it. So I kind of walked out like, well, I like that, and I'm really happy to know where we're going.
Yeah. I think there's going to be people who this isn't their cup of tea, and I'm with you. I actually don't mind a ton of VFX. I don't mind the stuff like shooting on the volume. I think it really works for The Mandalorian and for a number of other titles. And in the MCU, I kind of like MCU cosmic in many ways more than just visiting on Earth. I like going to other dimensions, other planets, other worlds, and I think it worked really well in Thor Ragnarok. I thought it worked really well in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but all three of those movies do something really well is they make those settings feel tangible. They use a good mix of practical sets, and the characters have a reason to be there, and they have a relationship with their worlds, not just like a plot reason to be there, but like it feels so lived in. It does what like the original Star Wars did with A New Hope, and each of those places have scuff marks and dirt and grime and soot. And in Quantumania, you could see there's a lot of great like concept art that went into it, but like the characters are just kind of walking through it or gliding through it, and it's never commented upon. It like there's a lot of beautiful art and design into it, but I often felt myself missing that kind of like thematic connection to why these characters need to be in this particular place at this particular time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it, because I feel like one of the best way to describe why I didn't come away loving the movie is because I felt like I just didn't connect with things, and I felt like things in the movie, like the story all connects, the story all makes sense. Like I don't have a problem with like the story. I'm not saying there's a whole bunch of plot holes by any means, but I think like you said, connecting to the environment, connecting to the characters. So there was a lot of setup that I was like, oh, this would be fun. Like early on, there's a plot line with Janet that I was like, oh, this could be fun to explore. And it just doesn't really get revisited. And I was like, okay, well, that didn't really pan out too much. But it's funny. It's got charm. Not as much as the first Ant-Man movie, in my opinion, but it's got funny jokes that throughout. It's a Marvel movie. Those are coming. Overall, I'm in the middle. I'm like, okay, it's not at the top. It's not at the bottom. It's a movie. It sent us where we're going. I'm happy about that. What's up, Jake?
Higher or lower than Love and Thunder?
Oh.
I would say higher.
How much of that is majors, though?
Love and Thunder. Yeah, now that I've revisited Love and Thunder, this one has way more purpose as an individual film and as an MCU kind of, story place setter, table setter.
Yeah. I think it's better than Love and Thunder even without majors in it. And that's just my take. I don't know if your mileage will vary, but like I think even without majors, who is a big game changer, the Ant-Man family and Scott's story in it, what Brandon alluded to, there is a moment in it that like is really profound. And I think all they really, what I wanted more from it is just setting it up specifically a bit more for Scott Lang, because it is so spread out. You do sometimes miss it. It kind of has that Empire Strikes Back feel where we cut around in two different storylines, two different characters who are spread out. But I think overall, like, I understood what Scott's journey was, and I really did connect with it, especially as like a family man. I got married in the past year. I'm thinking about, I want a kid really bad. And so that whole idea of like losing time with your kid, like I'm now thinking I'm launching a new YouTube channel to deep dive. I'm like, I got to make sure I have time with my kid, because I do not ever want to like be a dad who's absent.
I do think that that's an interesting perspective, that when you're at that stage of life, maybe you can connect to it even more. And congrats on getting married. Congrats on the new YouTube channel too, by the way.
Thank you. It's a big year. So I'm connecting to everything differently now. I'm in a different stage of my life.
So before I read some of these tweets, I just wanted to see if Jenna and Jamie have anything else they wanted to ask here, if we have any interesting comments.
I will say I just feel very vindicated after our rankings episode, and BD subsequently dunking on all of us for having Quantumania towards the middle. I feel very, very validated right now. I'm so excited to see this, because I do feel like I'm going to love the weirdness of it, but just knowing that Jamie and Aaron and I were probably on the right track is very validating right now.
Wow.
I have to say,
Man of the Wasp Quantumania is the best movie ever. Okay. Until
I
Guardians.
feel like I'm more excited now than I was a week ago. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to Monday.
I'll say I'm really interested to see what you two think and what fans who go see it on the 17th think. I think the conversations, our bonus episode for this one is going to be wild. Well, we will have a bonus episode on the 17th that we'll be recording to talk spoilers on this one, because there is so much to talk about in this movie. My goodness gracious. But we're saving all those spoilers for after the movie hits theaters. All right, I want to read a couple tweets from people who are not on the show and not at comicbook.com. Jermaine from IO9. The best Star Wars movie since 2018 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That is not a super high bar. It's a huge sci-fi adventure with gorgeous world building that feels almost little un-Marvel in how much world building there is, but it's got humor, heart, Kang completely rules, and Michelle Pfeiffer steals it. Jamie is smiling. Brian Davids from THR said there comes a point where every franchise has to get weird, and the MCU has done just that with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Like all his other roles, Jonathan Majors remains endlessly compelling. True. Nor Dominic from BuzzFeed. Jonathan Majors is a force in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He's compelling, chilling, and already giving a top-notch performance. I love the complexity he brings to Kang with literally a single look. MCU really won with this casting. Eric Davis from Fandango says, Phase 5 has begun. The new Ant-Man movie is like a psychedelic roller coaster full of frightening and hilarious oddities, plus one very menacing Kang. Big Star Wars vibes meet the MCU at its freakiest and most inventive. MODOK is a riot, but Jonathan Majors conquers. Loved the ride. Sounds like people like Jonathan Majors. What? Victor Lucas, as promised, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's a big movie carrying a ton of franchise weight. Exciting threads created, endless visual effects. Ragnarok-ish, not as good, but that family dynamic is dependably wonderful. Loved Pfeiffer and Newton and Kang. And finally, Joseph Deckelmeyer. I love Joe. Good guy. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is such a fun way to kick off Phase 5. Each Ant-Man film has been better than the last. This is no exception. Can't wait to see more Kang and the ramifications of this film in the MCU. I have one more here. And Sean Keen. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania has way too much going on. It's tough to connect emotionally to any of it. Jonathan Majors' Kang is charismatic, intense baddie, and visually awesome, but the threat he represents is too abstract. That's from CNET. So, it's pretty universal. Kang is awesome. Majors is awesome. A lot going on in the rest of it. Some people love it. It seems a lot of people enjoyed it, and then some people didn't. So I'm real curious to see what people think on this one on the 17th. And that's all I've got to say about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania for now. If you guys want to talk more about it, drop a comment, send us your tweets. Make sure you're following Erik on Twitter and social media at EA Voss. He's launching a new YouTube channel, The Deep Dive with New Rockstars. That's with New Rockstars, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of the New Rockstars growing network. So it's our second channel that we're trying out.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. And we'll talk more about that later in the show if you want. I'd love to get you some plugs out there and get some, get this, if we can help in any way. I don't know if you need it, but we're happy to try. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back to Phase 0, we have some exclusive MCU updates for you. So hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Don't miss the news that's coming. I promise. I promise, probably worth your time. So see you in a minute. Welcome back to Phase Zero. BD here, Aaron, Jenna, Jamie, and our special guest, Erik Voss, still hanging out. We have some exclusive MCU news to share with you all, and we're just going to jump right into it. Aaron, you want to kick us off?
Sure can. Werewolf by Night characters have a future in the MCU, according to producer Stephen Broussard, thanks to Brandon Davis talking to him yesterday. Well, I will say that we're starting to introduce some cool characters that are in the darker side, the monster side, and the supernatural, and the occult in a very organic way as you're seeing these other characters pop up. I think in very organic ways, it feels like there could be ways to continue those stories in ways that feel very fresh and new and keeping our toe in that horror side of things. So the monster mash is not ending for all of you who love Werewolf by Night. And it sounds like it might even be related to Agatha in some ways. You guys excited to see more monster features in the MCU?
Midnight Suns.
Man singing Agatha, hanging out.
Adam Barnhart is somewhere listening to this, and
MEDHISTO.
he's so happy right now. Yes, that's the key. Yeah.
Does anybody have anything specific they want to see, whether it's Jack or Elsa, any place that they actually like they know? Jenna, I know you have thoughts on this, that you want to see them go.
I would love for Man-Thing to get his own something or other, even if it's just his own special presentation, because I feel like his own canon and like his ties to the nexus of all realities is one of the weirdest things possible, and it could be really useful considering all of the multiverse stuff we're going into. I also just need to see Elsa again. Like, I hate that we don't really know where she's going to show up next, because I absolutely loved what they did with her. So anywhere really for her.
Erik, what do you think of all the horror stuff in the MCU? You think there's a future for that?
Absolutely. I mean, we have Agatha Coven of Chaos coming sometime. We don't know, but that would probably be my number 4 and number 5, what I'm most excited for. And I think that whole beginning, the origin, the narration with the legends, the lore, the Latin textbook of all the different monsters in MCU past, the history of the Bloodstone. I want to see a series of the history of the Bloodstone. Maybe just call it Bloodstone. Like Elsa's father, like maybe it could be like a dual timeline thing where we see Elsa as like a slayer in the present with like the history of the Bloodstone family and all the monsters that have been in the history of the MCU. I mean, I'm down for it. I'm so here for it.
Like a horror Godfather Part 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like they're starting to recognize. I hope they're starting to recognize that those of us who were, much younger when Iron Man came out, the kids. I was, I think, 16 years old when Iron Man came out. It's been 15 years. Marvel has, a younger audience. Of course, it's always going to cater to a young audience. They have to bring families and kids, but a lot of the audience has grown up, and we will accept and enjoy more mature content. So I'm here for the horror stuff. I'm here for the Bloodstone saga. All right, we got another update here from Stephen Broussard.
Yeah, so he also spoke about the Wonder Woman show, basically confirmed that it is happening because we haven't heard Marvel themselves really confirm it. He said Wonder Woman will be definitely influenced by the comic. One of the things that we're excited about is that it's going to feel very unique. It's not going to feel like anything you've quite seen in the MCU before. And the kind of stories we can tell in Disney Plus, which has been fun. Like streaming serialized storytelling is a totally different muscle, so we're having a blast making that one. I'm so excited for this show. I can't wait to see how they ultimately do it. I think, I know they confirmed out of the gate this is a Hollywood satire, so I'm very curious to see how that actually works in the MCU. But what do you guys think about this news and this confirmation that it even exists?
I read something somewhere that like a description of this show that's out there somewhere, and it does sound super fun. It does sound like a love letter to Hollywood, and I think it's going to be really interesting. I don't want to talk too much about what I read and piss anybody off, but it did seem like this show is going to be a ton of fun based on what I saw. And the Yaya is playing Wonder Man. I brought that up to Stephen Broussard, and he didn't correct me, so I'm assuming that's confirmation in itself. But then what I saw about this one looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, a really cool letter to the weird, wild ways of Hollywood. And I'm curious how deep they'll dive into that. Hopefully, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I love Hollywood history. I mean, I lived there for 12 years, so I know all the different locations. And I'm just fascinated by the history of it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit's one of my favorite films just because it talks about the real estate wars of the 40s in Hollywood. And if they can do Barry, HBO's Barry in the MCU, I think that's the perfect way to go. Hollywood satire, but with a lot of action and a lot of grim, dark, psychological character exploration.
I think you and Jamie would be best friends.
Yeah.
Jamie, let's hang out.
Yeah. I'm here in LA, so just hit me up.
I think, I mean, Kingo has to show up in this, right? At some point. Yeah. So
100%.
we'll see. Aaron, anything about Wonder Man you want to add here before we move on? We'll give you an opportunity.
I hope he needs a lawyer. If it's set in Los Angeles, I hope he needs a lawyer. That'd be cool. Like, what's up with Jen? Heck, have Charlie come back again too. Like, have them actually face off against each other again. That'd be fun. So yeah, looking forward to it. Psych for Yaya.
All right. Well, one last thing on the exclusive front here. Chris Killian, host of comicbook.com's Daily Distraction, talked to Matt Shackman. I don't know if you guys know who Matt Shackman is. Directed this little series called WandaVision. Does he have any work coming up with Marvel? You know what is that? The Fantastic Four. That's right. Matt Shackman, director of Fantastic Four, talked to Chris Killian, and we just have the exclusive clip. Check this out.
Excited about Fantastic Four. I know you can't talk a lot about it, but are you also as sick as me as the Fantastic Four casting rumors?
There are a lot out there, man. Yeah, there really are. It's pretty amazing. No, look, I as I learned from WandaVision 2, it is so lovely to see the level of engagement that fans have with this material, because I'm a fan too, and I have been reading Fantastic Four since I was a kid. I love these characters. I love the chance that we have to bring them to the MCU, and I really want to get it right. And I know that everybody out there is really excited and feels passionate in the same way, wanting to get it right. And so I encourage it. I think it's great. But yeah, I have no real answers for anyone today about casting.
Please, can you confirm that Galactus is not going to be a cloud in the MCU?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
I know you did consult for Multiverse of Madness, after following WandaVision. So I was just curious, now that movie's been out for a minute, like, what was your take on how that movie treated Wanda as a character versus how she was treated in WandaVision? What was your take on that?
Yeah, I did. I talked a lot to Michael Waldron, who's the writer. I talked to Sam Raimi, the director. We also shared a lot in terms of art department, because we were, creating Darkhold and creating things that was her costume that would continue on. So there was a lot of synergy and conversation about it. And I'm aware certainly of the conversation on the internet about, Wanda and her character. And I'm so proud of everything that we did on WandaVision. That show is really special. Working with Lizzie and telling that story was so unique and fun. And when you're in this universe, you have to pass the baton. That's part of the joy of being in the MCU, is you run as hard and fast as you can when it's your section of the race, and then you pass that baton and it's on to others to tell that story. And I think that their story made certain decisions that they needed to make to make that story work. And I thought it was a super entertaining movie.
That's a nice way to put it from Matt Shackman. I dig it. Jamie, what do you think about his thoughts on Wanda?
Honestly, I was so distracted. Did he have the radio from episode 2 of WandaVision in his back? I saw he had 2 Funkos.
It looks like it, yeah.
I think he has the radio. Otherwise, yeah, great answer. Looking good. You guys know I'm all about, right, you see right above his head? I'm all about Multiverse of Madness. I think it was a very diplomatic answer that he gave.
It definitely was a very diplomatic answer. I wish there was a little bit more WandaVision respect in Multiverse of Madness, but that's just me. All right. Hold on. We are running so behind. We're just gonna jump to if does anybody else want to weigh in on what Matt Shackman said about Fantastic Four or WandaVision? I want to open that up real quick before we take one more break.
I'm very validated that he's also sick of the fan casting. Like, that is very validating to hear, because as we have said on this show multiple times, like, the day that we finally get that casting will truly be the end of an era, because this has just gone on for so long.
Yeah, we're all tired. We're all so tired. Remember when Fantastic Four fan casting was fun?
Yeah.
That was like before Infinity War came out.
I mean, I think it died when John Krasinski showed up in Multiverse of Madness. It's like, oh, the principal's making the what are those jokes now? Oh no. I loved it though. I loved it. I loved that they slaughtered all them. I thought that was so cool. That was awesome.
And none of that has anything to do with the aerospace engineer theories that turned out to be. Who was it? It wasn't me. So it couldn't have been me. I didn't think the aerospace engineer was important. Definitely never was me. Oh my God. We're moving on. All right, guys, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we do have some more Fantastic Four news to talk about. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Daredevil Born Again, one of Erik's top films of the on the anticipation list for 2024, 2025, 2026. That's a show, actually, not a movie. But anyway, we'll see you in 60 seconds. That hold music is so good. Just got me dancing in my chair. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know how good the hold music is. The minute there, long break there. Make sure you subscribe so you can hear it next week and hit a thumbs up. All right, we got a few more topics here to talk about. Also, I want to plug something. On the Phase Zero channel, we have an exclusive interview with Peyton Reed coming up. We talked all about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, spoiler-free. And then a week after Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania comes out, there is a whole lot more with Peyton Reed where we talk spoilers. So I got Peyton to kind of explain the ending, talk about the credit scenes, talk about stuff like that. So I'm very excited to share that, but I'm not allowed to share it until a good amount of time, until after Quantumania comes out. So, but just stay tuned for that. So we got a little bit more news to talk about, and let's do it.
So we got Matt Shakman explaining why he left Star Trek for Fantastic Four. He shed some light on what to expect from the MCU reboot, and the description has a lot of people excited. So Chris Killian asked him, like, one thing people are clinging to is like optimism and looking to the stars. What do you see as the key things of a Fantastic Four movie, right? So movies have different journeys and momentums, and schedules are a little bit mercurial. So when the Fantastic Four opportunity came up, it was just too hard to pass up. To go back home and work at Marvel, a place that I worked on WandaVision at, with those people who are wonderful collaborators, it really is a family there. And to be able to go back and tackle something that I truly love, and they're similar in some ways. Like, they were both launched in the 60s and around the same time. They're both about optimism and looking to the stars, and technology can solve everything. And they're about family too. The family you have, the family you make. So they're aligned in many ways and speak to my heart, and equally, so I'm excited to be working on Fantastic Four, which means, oh boy, 2 big optimism-driven movies in 2024 between this and Superman Legacy. Hooray. The sun will shine on us again. How do you guys feel about it?
Hooray.
In Matt, we trust. So I'm ready.
These quotes push my agenda of setting at least part of this movie in the 60s, which I will still hold on to until we are proven wrong. So I'm happy with what he said.
I don't want it. Present day, please.
Yeah.
Present day, please.
That's a whole separate debate.
Ooh, beef.
I'm with Jenna.
Yeah.
Erik, what do you want in Fantastic Four? What are you hoping Matt Shakman delivers?
I'm in complete agreement with all of you. My favorite episodes of WandaVision were episode 2 and episode 3. And I know a lot of viewers felt that they didn't really know what the direction was, but I just loved living in that moment. And I think Matt Shakman, as a lover of sitcom history, and probably, I mean, he was in Growing Pains, right? And I grew up watching Nick at Night and watching old sitcoms that were my older siblings' eras of sitcoms. So I would love to go back to the 60s and just show like what superheroes existed back then. Show like a younger Hank Pym who might have been a collaborator with them, and just kind of tell that story of Marvel's first family. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely team present day, which seems to not have me in agreement with you all on that front, because I just want the story to move forward and not kind of feel like it's stuffing in history that we didn't hear about while hearing all these other stories and how there's new superheroes and how that's such a shock to the world. Like if the Fantastic Four existed in the 60s, why was the I Am Iron Man line such a big reveal? But I'm not going to lose my mind over that, but that's just my preference. I like when they move forward and don't go spend so much time in the past. But I think the most important thing is that optimism and looking to the stars and the family bits. I think that the dynamic between the Fantastic Four, their relationships, each person's relationship with the other three members of the Fantastic Four and Victor Von Doom is going to be really key to making this a good movie. And as Chris pointed out, Galactus not being a cloud. So, yeah, I don't think we can make that mistake again. But yeah, Fantastic Four, I think that in this interview with The Wrap, they said it's going to start filming early 2024. So that means the casting rumors have almost a whole year to continue. So buckle up, everybody. Jenna, my fellow Guardians enthusiast.
Yes. Speaking of buckling up, Marvel released a new synopsis for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, our beloved band of misfits are settling into life on Nowhere, but it isn't long before their lives are upended by the echoes of Rocket's turbulent past. Peter Quill, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, must rally his team around him on a dangerous mission to save Rocket's life. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to Guardians as we know them. As you can see by BD's reaction, I equally am very emotionally compromised by this synopsis. I'm gonna cry. I know I'm gonna cry watching this movie, and this synopsis basically confirms it. What do you guys think?
I thought there was a bee in the studio.
I need this movie yesterday. Do you hear me? Please, Guardians of the Galaxy, just let me see it. Hurt me. I want to watch this film.
Please, someone clip hurt me. Please, someone clip me.
For Guardians 3. I don't know how Aaron and Jamie have this anywhere other than number 1 on their list.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. I'm just worried. I don't want to see it. Yeah, fair, I'm with you there. But I think I just don't want it to end. And this is going to be the end of James Gunn's era of the MCU. I'm excited for him in DC. I think he's going to be great there. It's just going to be like I'm going to be saying goodbye to a lot of characters, so I'm dreading it.
I know, but I can't wait. I just can't wait. These are my favorite characters in the MCU right now. I think that Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, Groot, Nebula, Kraglin. Of everybody who is in the MCU, these are by far my favorite remaining characters, and I know I'm going to lose some of them. I might lose all of them. James Gunn does not. He made me care about Polka Dot Man and then stepped on him, bro. Like Guardians Volume 3 is going to raise the bar, I think. I don't know. This could end up being the best MCU trilogy. I think there's a strong possibility of that. Guardians 1 is a masterpiece. Guardians 2, in my opinion, very good movie. I know people love to hate on Guardians 2. I think y'all are crazy for that. I think Guardians 2 is great. In Guardians 3, if it is as good as Guardians 2 or better, in my opinion, it's going to be the best MCU trilogy. And it might be better than the first one. If this is better than the first one, I'm getting a Guardians of the Galaxy tattoo on my forehead.
Yeah. Wow. I took it seriously, but then he said forehead, and now
well, maybe I'll get a Guardians tattoo, just not on my face. Just not on my face.
No, that's good call. Even I don't condone that.
No.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see Guardians 3. All right, well, I'm going to calm down here. We'll get to our last
Last piece of news, everyone, let's do this. It is a Daredevil Born Again update from Vincent D'Onofrio himself on Twitter. He says it's going to be very, very cool. Very different than the Netflix show, which was, as we know, was amazing. Yet this is brand new and really smart. We are going to surprise everyone with it. And yes, it's going to be really cool. So that's a lot of cools, a lot of very cools. And there's also a new rumor that the Tracksuit Mafia, friends of the show, of course, our pals Tracksuit Mafia might return, which makes sense, I think. What do you guys think of what he said? I feel like he's just like, yeah, it's cool. I can't talk about it. It's gonna be good. We don't have much there, but I like the idea of the tracksuit folks coming back. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I
bro.
mean this in the nicest possible way. He sounds like a middle schooler explaining like a movie that they just saw. Like, it's so cool, it's so amazing. Like, I love his enthusiasm. It is just palpable. So I'm excited.
Writing a paper has to hit a word count.
Yeah.
It's going to be very cool, and yes, it's going to be very cool.
John Mulaney in the Sack Lunch Bunch, where he's having the thing with the little kids, where they're like, "How many times do you go to the bathroom?" 5.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing. It's my lunchbox. It's my identity. Yeah, that's what it's got going on.
I'm reading between the lines, and I'm going to be the skeptic detective here on the D'Onofrio tweet, just for the sake of conversation. Talking about how it's going to be very different than the Netflix show. One thing I just want is a firm, concrete clarification on whether or not the Netflix stuff is canon. I don't know if we're ever going to get it. I just want to know if all the things that happened on Netflix have happened to the Daredevil we met in She-Hulk and Spider-Man No Way Home and will see in Daredevil Born Again or not. I just want to know for sure. Okay, that's all.
I don't understand why they can't just tell us that. Like, why does it matter? Just tell us. We want to know. And like, I'm fine with either answer. Just let us know. I totally agree. It's frustrating.
Either answer is better than no answer.
What if it was Kang, and that's what the big thing is? Maybe that's why they're turtling it this entire time. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's one possible answer. It's all the multiverse. I just think they don't need to. They can just say, no one's going to be upset if you just say it was all canon. It happened. We're just not going to reference it a lot on this show. We're in a new era of the characters, but like what happened in their history, yeah, go rewatch those 3 seasons because they're awesome. And then you can enjoy them and they can be canon to your heart and important to you. And that's valid. That's legit. That's great. And we can just move on from it. But you're right. I wish they would answer it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not like they could just say, like, you don't have to watch the first 3 seasons of Daredevil to understand Born Again, but it is all canon to this character. And this is just a continuation of his story. I don't know. I think maybe they are afraid to make more required viewing, as Phase 4 was 50 hours long. And I think to some audiences, it gets a little discouraging to feel like you have to catch up and keep up. But then, man, I really don't know. I'm trying to rationalize why they won't just answer the question. I know that if they say no, they're probably afraid of pissing off the fans who love the Netflix show. But I really do believe either answer is better than no answer. So hopefully we'll get that. As for the Tracksuit Mafia, hell yeah, make them show up. I think that I would love a populated New York with heroes and villains that we get to see over and over again, popping in and out of, different movies and shows. I think that's what happens in comics. Well, I think we're getting there with these titles. So I think the Tracksuit Mafia showing up makes sense, bro. All right. Well,
what would you rather have them do? Would you rather have them explain if it's canon or not, or would you rather have them give us who owns freaking Avengers Tower in Born Again?
Oh, in Born Again, I think the more important answer is whether or not it's canon. I think we care more about Avengers Tower. I think it's Mr. Gryphon or it's QE&G Kang. Like, we just haven't panned the camera up or tilted it up. Not pan is this, tilt is this. They need to tilt the camera up and just be QE&G at the top. It's going to answer all of our questions.
I'm sure they will re-edit another episode of Miss Marvel to add it to the skyline.
Yeah.
Boy.
I just want to know. I don't have to so much. Show me Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 right now. Tell me if Daredevil's canon and who bought Avengers Tower. All right. Those are the burning questions here at Phase Zero. And Feige, I know you watch the show. I know that's you in the comment section on it. No, I don't think Feige's watching. If you are, man, congratulations on the success. We love you for it. Come talk on sometime. We'd love to have you. That's our show today, everybody. Eric, where can we find you on social media? Tell us about the new channel, what we can expect.
Yeah, you can find me at Erik Voss on all social media, but we're launching on February 17th, Quantumania Day, the deep dive. It's New Rockstars' new sister channel that we're launching, and we're just going to be going week by week, looking at specific titles and doing very long, very thorough analyses of them that create like a new visual to understand like the deeper root myth of the movie that's near and dear to the filmmaker's heart and near and dear to my heart. So on launch day, we're going to be doing a live stream, a spoiler live stream about Quantumania, where I do a live breakdown and you get to see like my insane process behind the scenes. We'll be looking at Loki season 1 again. WandaVision, we're doing a re-exploration of WandaVision. And then our first video is going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once, a deep dive into the deeper themes of that movie. I think you're all really going to love it.
That's awesome, dude. I can't wait to see that. That's awesome, man. Everybody, make sure you go check that out. So if you're not subscribed to New Rockstars, I don't believe you. I think you already are, because they're such a great channel. And I know everybody who watches Phase Zero and listens to Phase Zero. If you're not already on that channel and hooked on Erik's content, I hope this puts you on it, and we'll take credit for the discovery there, because you're going to enjoy it, everybody. Erik, thank you for coming on today's show, man. This was awesome.
This was a lot of fun. And again, props to Phase Zero, to comicbook.com. I truly believe you guys are the source for like all the best news. You guys are always asking the best questions. Chris's interview of Matt Shackman was incredible. Just he knew how to ask like just the right questions to get the good answers. I'm so impressed with all of you for doing that.
Thanks, man. I hope to see you at one of these events soon. Maybe Guardians 3, we'll all get together.
I'd love that.
Yeah. Aaron, any last words for today's show?
It's at Some Lake Corner on Twitter. I would like to say, go watch me talk to Dominique Thorne about Ironheart and watch her try not to spoil anything about that show. She was just, you could see the gears. I love, she's so precious. Like, it was very good. She's doing good work with Children's Hospital of Atlanta. And I would like to highlight Jessica Clemens's breakdown of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I love the video about the musical cue with the ritual for Shuri at the end of the movie. My mother was blown away, because she actually comes across y'all videos sometimes. Erik is like, oh, do you watch this, Aaron? Blah, blah, blah. So go watch that. Go check that out.
Definitely watch that. She's so good.
Jenna, any last words for today's episode?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on all social medias. And as always, go read some comics. There are some good comics to read this week, as most weeks. So go read some comics.
Love it. Jamie?
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd at Jamie Cinematics, because right now I am prepping for another Jonathan Majors movie, Creed 3, by going through all the Rockies. So if you're interested in how I feel about Sly and him beating up on people, follow me on Letterboxd.
Go follow Jamie on Letterboxd, everybody. If you want to talk more, hit us up in the comment section. Hit me up at Brandon Davis BD. If you subscribe to the Phase Zero YouTube channel, you're going to get that Peyton Reed interview, I think later today, possibly tomorrow morning. It all depends on when we get the footage. So some really cool spoiler-free stuff coming there. We will have a bonus episode about Quantumania on the Phase Zero YouTube channel and podcast platforms on February 17th. So go explore the deep dive and spend your day with us as well. You're going to have plenty of content on the 17th, and the MCU Phase 5 is kicking off. And go over to comicbook.com/Marvel, because there's some more stuff about Ant-Man, like maybe Ant-Man 4 updates, if that's happening or not, all over on the site right now. You can go find it. So thank you so much. Leave a 5-star review, subscribe to the channel, and endless thanks to Erik Voss for joining us and having a good time with us on Phase Zero today. See y'all next week. The best image ever.